Did you know the Nintendo Famicom's the same age as the Commodore 64? Could Nintendo have taken control of the entire games industry way back in 1983? We compare it to its real 8-bit rivals with some amazing games you may never have seen before. Hello, yes, I am back, it is me, it is Jace at Retrogames, and I am here today. I'm going to talk to you all about, the Famicom! Retro Facts. As you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the Nintendo NES, a console originally released as the Nintendo Famicom way back in 1983. Yes, that's right, 1983, the same year as the Commodore 64 hit the UK. In contrast, the Nintendo NES finally hit the USA in 1986, but we didn't get Nintendo's first console in the UK until 1987, a full 4 years after the Famicom's launch, an absolute lifetime during this turbulent period of computing history. Here, the ZX Spectrum and Commodore 64 only just started to gain traction in 1983, and we can only imagine how the Famicom might have fared against them. Let's start with the price. The Commodore 64 launched at £399, the 48K ZX Spectrum at £175. In comparison, the Nintendo Famicom launched at just £38.
I still wouldn't have bought it.
Historically, cartridge games have always been expensive. It's why computers took hold of the UK so vehemently. Before computers, £30 Atari cartridges were reserved for Christmases and birthdays. But now we could type in programs from magazines and copy tapes off our friends. How could the Famicom have competed with that? Well, in Japan, Famicom games were comparatively cheap. Stone cold classics like Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong sold for just £12. That's the same price as many top-end computer games anyway, and let's be honest, nobody actually likes loading a game off of tape, and back then none of us could afford a disk drive. The specs, I hear you cry. What about the specs? Well, the Famicom was designed for one thing: playing games. Its MOS 6502 CPU is a faster version of the one you'll find in the Commodore 64, though not as fast as the one in a BBC Micro. 8-bit computers have big memories for storing programs, while the Famicom has a super efficient but tiny 2K of RAM, with all game codes stored on their cartridges. With dedicated hardware sprites and scrolling, the Famicom destroys the humble ZX Spectrum in the graphics department. The Commodore 64 though is trickier. It does have hardware sprites and assisted scrolling, and while the Famicom has 5-channel sound, it doesn't compare to the flexibility of the Commodore 64's mighty SID chip. So now it is comparison time, and I've picked some classics. This is the original Donkey Kong, one of the first releases ever on the Famicom. The sound is great, isn't it? The animation, check the animation of the fire bucket. It's always our little test for this game. It's fast, it's playable, it's like the coin-op. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, of course. Classic Donkey Kong. Okay, let's go to the Commodore 64. Okay, we've still got the music. I mean, instantly, it is more blocky. The colour's far less vibrant. It's playable for sure, but it seems inferior in every kind of way. You can tell it is Mario. The fire bucket, very slow animation for that fire bucket, which also seems to speed up sporadically. Okay, the Spectrum. This was actually made 3 years after that Famicom original in 1986, and this is the 128K version, so it's actually on a better machine than a regular Spectrum because of the sound. As you'd expect, Mario looks like a black and white ghost. Okay, let's stick with the Spectrum, but this time go to a classic shooter, Nemesis, known in the rest of the world as Gradius. A classic shooter. I loved this when it came out. I still think it's pretty playable and fun, but the Commodore 64 version is considerably better. It's the music, isn't it? It just brings it all to life. There are no sound effects. that typically washed out, blocky brown and grey graphic style that we love the Commodore 64 for. Okay, let's go to the Famicom. Oh, what? I know, it's like going from black and white TV to colour TV. Incredible. The resolution and the colours make the biggest difference, don't they? Side by side, would you have paid £4 more for the Famicom version? Sticking with the Commodore 64, here is a game that we all grew up with and loved to pieces. Tato's Bubble Bobble, of course. And it's a brilliant game on the Commodore 64, fabulous. It's actually pretty good on the Spectrum too, though the way they've done Bub, it does look sort of racist. I know, it's like a racist Bubble Bobble. Again, I'm not playing quite fair because this is the 128K version with the music. Oh, wow. Now that looks like the coin-op. It looks so good, doesn't it? So crisp, so multicoloured sprites, the speed. Bit of side-by-side with the Commodore 64 version. I mean, they are comparable. They're both brilliant games. But yeah, just on the resolution, the vibrancy of the colours, the Famicom version is better. I'm sorry, it is. And I love the Commodore. Retro memory trigger. Oh, I love this intro. It is, of course, the Famicom version of Ghosts and Goblins, a game that we absolutely adored on 8-bit formats. And look at it, it is fast, it is sharp. The detail of your main character and his armour, fantastic. It's not just the graphics and the resolution. There's something hard to define that makes this version better. It feels more solid, less flaky, less flickery. I don't know what it is. Here it is on the Commodore 64. We still have that intro. I mean, it looks gorgeous because Commodore 64 games have got their own style and charm. And this is a great game on the Commodore 64. But it's not like the Famicom version. It's not got that sharpness. It's not got that arcade coin-op feel. It's a close approximation of what Ghosts and Goblins runs like on an inferior machine. The split screen proves my point. Only £4 more than the cassette version on a machine a tenth of the price. And of course I had to show you the Spectrum version just for this classic intro. Where's the background? Now I absolutely loved this game. I bought it at the time and I played it to death back in 1985 on the Spectrum. It was great, but where is the sound? Wow, this just feels lifeless in comparison. The sound makes such a big difference. We didn't realise at the time, us Spectrum owners, we thought a beep and a fart were good enough. Yes, I hear you cry, that's all well and good, but my mum and dad wanted me to learn about computers, do my homework on it and become a boffin. That is a fair point, but let's be honest, most of us didn't become boffins, we just played games constantly. And that raises an interesting what if. If the Famicom had arrived in the UK in 1983 at the right price with those arcade smooth graphics and the convenience of cartridges, could it have crushed the bedroom coding scene before it had even blossomed? Kids typing in listings, hacking games, learning by breaking things, it's exactly what helped turn the UK into a global force in game development. Nintendo, understandably, couldn't see that coming. From their perspective, this was just another territory. But in Britain, in the early 1980s, computers weren't just machines, they were obsessions. By the time the NES finally reached the UK, later than much of mainland Europe, the landscape had already shifted. British gamers had grown up with computers. Many looked at the NES as yesterday's tech, while dreaming of Amigas and Atari STs. So maybe the Famicom didn't lose the UK, maybe it simply missed its moment, and in doing so accidentally helped create one of the most creative game development cultures in the world. So you see the point, we were neglected in the UK and Europe. We got a pale imitation of what the Famicom and the NES could have been. Released too late, released with a tiny showcase of games, and obviously some of those games are not the best games that came out of the console, which is just weird, isn't it? I mean, you can blame third parties, but you can blame Nintendo too. Nintendo always had their fingers and thumbs in the publishing game. They could have pushed games onto their own label and they could have released more stuff at reasonable prices. And the NES could have been a completely different story.
Well, as I told you previously, at Sinclair we were working on a fast but simple Nintendo-style console, bringing Amiga beating graphics at a fraction of the price. But yes, I will grant you, no documentation or prototypes exist, just a few references I made personally in interviews.
Yes, the classic Famicom, and just to make that point, just drill it home there, 1983. Yes, the NES was released far too late, but the Famicom was ahead of its time. And British gamers would really have appreciated a console that was ahead of its time in 1983. I mean, it was a different globe back then. I mean, the world was different. Things didn't get released simultaneously all around the world. But the gaps, the Nintendo, the guilty of the biggest gaps in consumer history, surely. You release a console 5 years after it originally came out, yeah, and then try and get traction with old technology. What do you expect? I mean, up against the Commodore 64 or the ZX Spectrum, this would have been a strange choice, wouldn't it? With this, but it's built-in controllers. I mean, even controllers were not something we were familiar with in 1983. We all had joysticks. Joysticks were the way you controlled your games. But there's so many things inside the Famicom which really could have changed gaming if they'd been introduced to the UK earlier. I mean, way ahead of its time is a microphone on controller 2, so you could react and interact with games. Volume control on the controller 2, ahead of its time. Now, I'm sure many of you are retro gamers and you know all this, but there are so many amazing Famicom games that never made it to the UK. Some of them did make it to the USA, but I've picked a selection just to show you what kind of things we missed out on.
What's number 10?
Bomberman! Yes, Bomberman 2 for the Famicom. Look at that slice of gorgeousness. Obviously, Bomberman, such a fundamental multiplayer game. A system seller, I think potentially a system seller. Not just one Bomberman game on Famicom, but Bomberman 1 and 2. There were versions later released for 16-bit computers, but no 8-bit, we didn't have Bomberman. And look at that gorgeous cartridge, isn't that beautiful? There we've got the manual and the reg cards under there. Yeah, cute, compact. To be fair, Bomberman did come out in 91, so it's 8 years after the birth of the console. That's the thing about the Famicom. Such huge sales in Japan, had a hell of a long shelf life. But that doesn't mean that Bomberman 1 couldn't have been released. And what a great reason to sell those 4-player adapters for the NES, because what could be better than 4 people sitting around their NES playing Bomberman? That is a system seller. So here is Bomberman 2 on the Famicom, and it's very nice. The graphics are lovely, aren't they? Very cute, very colourful. It's the classic Bomberman game. It is fast, it is fun. Now, for my own sanity, I thought I'm just going to check this against the Amiga version. And yes, I'm actually relieved the Amiga version is faster, maybe more colourful, and a lot better in the music department. Don't worry, 16-bit still rocks.
What's number 9?
Not Gradius 1, but Gradius 2, the better sequel, and in this beautiful, shiny mirror effect box. Fabulous artwork. I mean, it's so exciting looking at all Konami games are pretty exciting anyway. Look at that, just for the screenshots. Can you imagine? I'll be bawling my eyes out in the computer game shop. And there we have the manual, a flyer for a Making of Gradius 2 book, and there's the magnificent cartridge. Yes, you've already seen Gradius 1, and here is Gradius 2. Just more frantic, more action, more fast-paced. Yeah, it's a very intense early shooter.
What's number 8?
Now here is a game with one of the best titles ever. Legend of Balabalook. Yes, Legend of Balabalook. The Legend of Balabalook. I can't get over the name of this thing. Yeah, it's just another gorgeous game which never made it out of Japan. I'm just going to play it in a minute, but I'll just show you what the contents are like. I like the compact size of the boxes. They are better. They're more shelf friendly than your NES games, aren't they? I know, more real estate, bigger boxes. There's the manual, upside down, nice manual, little help sheet, and there is the cartridge, The Legend of Balabalook. Let's check it out. So did you ever want to be Link in a platform game? It's a bit cheeky, isn't it? It's a very Link-like character. But yeah, it's an interesting maze game, this. Lots of caverns coming off and little ladders. Now in this game, if you jump up against a platform like that, you make this kind of weird spiky thing. Now that is how you kill the bad guys. Let's go around. Yeah, you can stand on them and activate them into 2 bullets. So you've got to wait for the guys to come and then... Oh, I missed him. Let's try again. Come on, I'm going to shoot you with this thing. Yes, got him.
What's number 7?
Now, how about this game? Yes, it is Choplifter. Yes, something you know. Choplifter, based on the classic Broderbund coin-op game. Came out for lots of... German company, Broderbund. Came out for lots of formats. But it came out for the Famicom. I do not remember ever seeing Choplifter for the NES. Now, I can open the box. It's alright. It's still got the plastic around the box. That is pretty beautiful. Think how old that plastic is. Let's just get it out. There we have the manual, and there we have the game still in its plastic bag. Wow, beautiful. Now this version of Choplifter was released in 1986 in Japan. Let's compare it to other versions of Choplifter that we love. So let's start with this. This is the Atari 800 version. Okay, I mean, I love old games, but this is kind of blocky and kind of basic and simple. And the Commodore 64 version is very similar. Maybe a little bit more sparse and drab. If you've never played Choplifter before, it is a game of rescue, blow up the enemy bases, and rescue your captured men, bring them back to your base. This one looks better, doesn't it? This is the Atari 7800 version, and it just goes to prove the game was never meant to be set in space. It's meant to be in the desert. Okay, here is the Famicom, and this really is proving a point, isn't it? The graphics are still pretty chunky, but those sprites are so much more detailed than the other 8-bit computers. And it's fast and it's playable. Just like the original coin-op, it feels like an action-packed arcade game. There are tons of things to blow up. Planes, helicopters, jeeps, tanks, countless ground-based gun installations. But here we are, we can land and rescue our comrades.
What's number 6?
Tabedase Daisekusen, or 3D World Runner. Now this is a game for the Famicom Disk System. In 1986, Nintendo released the Famicom Disk System, primarily to reduce the cost of games further to around £7.50. The device itself was expensive though, costing £60 thanks to the additional memory it required to store each disc game's program. Using in-store kiosks, it was even possible to copy over your discs with a new game at a cost of around £2.50. In 2003, Nintendo recalled all the kiosk machines, making it one of the rarest and hugest Nintendo collectibles ever made. As you can see, it comes in a larger box. It's even bigger than an actual NES box. And the reason for that is because it includes 3D glasses. And you're thinking you need a lot of equipment to play this game. Yes, because you do need the Famicom disc drive, and the included glasses. There's the manual. Like many of these 3D games, it's a bit like Space Harrier, but I think it's worth checking out. Now, for a moment, I did think it might be possible to play this without moving the joypad at all. Yes, oh, I had to move. Yeah, okay, it's a bit of a funny game, a run around, dodge 'em up. You have to remember that this game is from a time when that 3D perspective really was something new.
What's number 5?
It's 1990 and this game is called Kage, Kage. I'm not sure if it's related to Legend of Kage, the classic coin-op game, or not, but it looks like it might be. Kind of Castlevania inspired, beautiful box art. And there's the back. Now this is one of the rare games from Famicom. This is worth about 100 quid. Let's just get it out and show you the contents. Missing the manual, sadly, but let's check out Kage by Natsume. And you can kind of instantly see why the game is so sought after. It's fast, it's well animated, it's a platform run and gun. We loved this type of game back then, didn't we? We really did. The graphics are great, really sharp and detailed, and it's tricky, you know, there's timing involved, there's skills, you actually have to use skills.
Number 4.
Now this is a game that did come out in the UK. Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja, released in Japan just as Dragon Ninja, but the packaging, oh my god, look at that. Yeah, it's a firm, hard plastic mini case. I love these Namco games, they are gorgeous, aren't they? Look at the spine on it. Look at the spine on that. Absolutely stunning. I love it. If all games came in this kind of packaging, wouldn't we be happy boys? Yes, we would, and girls. Now, just have a look inside. Yeah, look at that. So there is the cartridge. There seems to be a little sticker on the top. I'll pull that out, because they also have really pretty top graphics on the cartridge. Now this is a game you might know, Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja. It came out for the Spectrum, didn't it? We can do a comparison in a minute. But there we go, and there is the game. And there is extra Namco gumph. But it's that image at the front of the box. That just makes me happy. I don't know why. Here we go then. I am in the woods whacking people with nunchucks. Yeah, I love it. Nunchucks banned in the UK for years. Now, I was going to do a comparison with the Spectrum and the Commodore versions, but I thought that's just being cruel. It's being cruel because I love those machines. Why should I humiliate them any further? This is pretty awesome.
What's number 3?
Super Star Force. We all love a shooter. And Super Star Force came out for US NES, but never came out in the UK. But look at that, isn't that evocative? That huge explosion in space. Oh, I love that. I mean, it's just, you're never going to get box art like this again, are we? Not that exciting. Beautiful. Let's look at the back, and there's got some screenshots. We'll have a little quick look inside before we play the game. There's the manual, and there is the gorgeous cartridge. You knew what to expect. It's a top-down shooter where you can upgrade your weapons and shoot the space station beneath you. We're building up to the end-of-level boss here. Now this is one of the toughest, most awesome end-of-level bosses you've ever seen. Are you ready for this? Attack Delta target. Here it comes. That's it, I've done it.
What's number 2?
And this is a first-party Nintendo title, Devil World. And Devil World did come out in the US, but we never got it. A first-party Nintendo game that never got released in the UK or Europe. And let's just have a look. No artwork on the back, no clue of what the game's about. I'll just get the innards out so you can check it properly. There we've got the precaution sheet. There is the immaculate manual. And there is the cartridge. So why was 1984's Devil World not good enough to get a UK release? It is a maze game. Travel around the maze grabbing goodies. Now you'll see it's walled off and you have to follow the direction that the maze moves in. It is not like your standard Pac-Man game. Here we go. Do you remember the Game & Watch Squish? It's a bit like that. You've got to keep moving within the confines of the scrolling area. So if you pick up these crosses, you can then banish the enemies. I've got to move up. You see, you're getting shoved around. If you get to the edge of the screen, you're going to get shoved around. You're not going to get a chance to grab all the dots. It's perfectly fine. It's an unusual take on the maze genre. There's that fried egg. Grab the fried egg. Yes, that's better. Yeah, it's okay. It's not rubbish. It reminds me of Bubble Bobble a little bit, even though it's nothing like it. Otaki! Otaki, I like the name of it. Otaki sounds nice. As you played Otaki. I'm going around my mate's house to play Otaki. It's quite nice, isn't it? It's got a nice big box, again, a Famicom disc game in one of these big square boxes. It's got a cute little Japanese girl. I think she's a musician. I think she's a famous musician in Japan. I can't be sure. Now let me just get the box open and show you what it's like inside. This is a different sort of game. This is a bit unusual. I love it. Okay, so we've got an advertisement there for a desktop joystick. We've got a big manual. A big manual with lots of space to write your own things in. And then we've got the Famicom disc, lovely Nintendo embossed Nintendo branding on the bottom of the disc. Now, Otaki is a music game, and this is going to drive you wild. There is no reason this shouldn't have been released outside of Japan. It's incredible. Check this. I hope you guys are with me on this. This is phenomenal. It is a shooter. That's me firing. Yes, the direction of the fire makes a different note. And you literally make music as you shoot things. Oh, a key change. Yeah, I triggered that by collecting the note. I don't really want to talk too much over this. I want you to feel it. So that note on the pillar changed the instrument to clavy. So yeah, I'm making a symphony as I am playing. It has never felt so addictive to press the fire button. Yeah, you're making music as you play a shooting game. The tune is pretty simple really, but it's that feeling of being slightly in control of it. It's pretty magical.
Here it comes, it's number one.
And here it is, my game of the week, and I may have been swayed. I may just have been swayed by the box. It is Super Xevious. That is the sequel to the original Xevious. You say Xevious, I say Xevious. Say what you like, it doesn't matter. It's a classic top-down shooter, but look at the artwork on this. Wow, that is gold. That is gold. Wow, that is shiny. What a beautiful thing. And as a shooter fans will love to have the whole series. This is actually the third game in the Xevious series. Wow, let's just open it up and crack it open, have a look. Oh, it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. Check the gloss on that cartridge. What? It's like a mirror. Isn't that beautiful? As a collector of games, this is a wonderful thing. We've got a reg card, we've got the glossy manual, perfect condition, and we've got some stickers. Some stickers to stick on the cartridge. Don't do it. That is a sticker too. That's just got a space for you to write something on. Yeah, so it's got everything that it originally came with. Now, this game was a massive flop. It actually delayed the next Xevious. We didn't get another one for a few years after because it introduced puzzle elements and people didn't like it. So let's check out the biggest flop of a Xevious game ever made. Oh yeah, I know what you're going to say. No, I do, I know. You don't have to say it. I actually know what you're going to say. Yeah. You want me to say? All right, I'll say it. It's exactly the same as every other Xevious game you've ever seen. Yeah, we got to the end. Thank you for watching. What an interesting exploration into the world of the Famicom and the wasted opportunity. I mean, if Nintendo had managed to get that Famicom, an equivalent out, even in 1984, with a cheaper game range, a bigger game range, because we're all about variety. We had the Spectrum and the Commodore and the Amstrad with thousands of games to choose from at cheap prices. Nintendo could absolutely have competed with that. They had the power, they had the might, they had the muscle, but they didn't do it. They left us to our computer tapes. And to be honest, that's why 16-bit took hold, because we were used to computers by then. Computers won the 8-bit war in the UK and Europe, and then computers won the 16-bit for a bit, didn't they? I mean, yeah, the Atari ST and the Amiga dominated, and you could say that's all because Nintendo suck. That's what I'm going to say anyway.
What is it they say? Those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Huge thanks for watching. It's good to be back. I will be back soon, maybe not next week, but I will be back with some more gaming stuff very soon. Until then, happy retro gaming, retro gamers!
Retrogames says thank you for watching. Retrogames says thank you for watching.
Oh, Jace, I can't believe it. The show is still rubbish. You had two number twos, mate.